Now at 5, all the inmates who escaped from the Ottawa County Jail this week have been captured. Plus, local power line workers return home from Florida after helping restore power there. And President Biden says the threat of Armageddon is the highest since the Cuban Missile Crisis.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
All of the inmates who escaped from the Ottawa County Jail this week are back in custody. This is KOAM News at 5. I'm Jordan Albee. 4 inmates escaped the jail back on Tuesday. One, Rusty Reese, was captured shortly thereafter. Then on Wednesday morning, a second, Buck Martindale, was also captured. But 2 remained at large until today. Tyler Tavis was arrested this morning in Joplin, and this afternoon, Daniel Zajac was found inside a home in Miami. He was taken into custody as well. 2 other people were arrested at that home. All 4 inmates are facing new charges from the escape. 6 Carthage Water and Electric Plant workers have returned home from their trip to Orlando, Florida, restoring the power after Hurricane Ian. The workers say 98,000 customers were without power last week after the hurricane went through town. The workers fixed critical outages first, places like hospitals, then moved on to individuals. The workers say flooding was the biggest problem they had in the city as they try to drive through 3 feet of water. They say even the locals there had not seen flooding in their lives before.
They've never seen any type of flooding like that. It's never been up to their doors or over the roads. They've got a lot of drainage canals behind their houses, and that's what caused all the flooding with all the water.
Workers say they had to be aware of wild animals when working in the flooding. Animals like alligators and, of course, those Florida snakes. Time to celebrate Columbus Days in Columbus, Kansas. The annual event celebrating the city itself and people of Columbus includes a variety of events, including a scarecrow contest, art exhibit, kite flying, I think that's what we're seeing right there, quilt show, bean feed, and hot air balloon glow.
Well, every event has its own reward. It's not always about the money. It's always usually a story. So we've been coming to Columbus for many, many years. This is the first year that the Chamber has let us do the kites with the kids, so we're really excited about that this year.
Columbus Days continues with more fun events until it wraps up Sunday. Meteorologist Doug Caddy joining us now. First, look at the forecast, and there were some good winds to fly some kites today.
Yeah, it's been a little breezy across the region, plus quite a bit cooler today compared to what we did see yesterday. Look at this, about 25 degrees colder right now compared to 5 p.m. Yesterday in our northern counties, we had a cold front that rolled through, and about 15 degrees cooler right now through the metro, a little bit less once you get in our southern counties, but it feels like fall across the region. Look at this, 58 in Nevada, 57 in Fort Scott, 55 in Iola. You get into the upper 60s once you hit the I-44 corridor, and then near 70 in our southern counties. We do have some clouds in our northern counties, and you can see even a few light little showers, so we could get a random sprinkle or 2 as we go through the evening hours for us tonight. Of course, we're going to look at your football forecast and into the weekend here in just a bit.
All right, Doug, thanks so much as always. Sources say the FBI and IRS believe that after a years-long investigation of Hunter Biden, there is enough evidence to charge the president's son with tax crimes and making false statements on a gun purchase. An attorney for the president's son called the allegations, quote, inherently biased, one-sided, and inaccurate. Today, the White House confirmed there is no information that would lead U.S. officials to believe Russia is planning an imminent nuclear attack on Ukraine. But last night, President Biden expressed just how seriously the U.S. is taking the threat, saying the risk of, quote, Armageddon is the highest since the Cuban Missile Crisis. Natalie Brand reports now from the White House.
Russian missiles obliterating this apartment building in Zaporizhia is the latest example of Russian forces stepping up its deadly attacks in civilian areas it annexed illegally last week.
Very angry. It's not possible in our time.
But as Ukrainian forces have made gains, Russia has become more desperate. Russian President Vladimir Putin recently alluded to the possibility of using tactical nuclear weapons. President Biden commented on the threat Thursday while at a fundraiser. He said, quote, we have not faced the prospect of Armageddon since Kennedy and the Cuban Missile Crisis.
This is a very serious war that the Russians see as against NATO, not just against Ukraine.
Ian Bremmer, president of Eurasia Group, says while he agrees it's the most dangerous period since 1962's Cuban Missile Crisis, he still characterizes the risk as very low.
The White House and President Biden have directly let the Kremlin know exactly what would happen to Russia if they were to do that. I think the likelihood of nuclear weapons use, thankfully, is very, very low. I'd put it at 5%, for example.
The White House says there's been no new nuclear assessment that prompted the president's comments and added the U.S. has not seen a reason to adjust its nuclear posture. As the West urges Putin to de-escalate, President Biden in his comments Thursday also said he's trying to figure out how Russia can find a way out of the conflict.
The potential off-ramp, frankly, is not in the next few weeks. It's likely in a couple of months or more, as it becomes clear that the front lines are more settled, that the Ukrainian counteroffensive is petering out.
Experts hope there's still an opportunity for negotiations to bring this 7.5-month war on Ukraine to an end. Natalie Brandt, CBS News, Washington.
Ukrainian officials say the bodies of 530 people have been discovered since September 7th in the recaptured areas of the Kharkiv region. Coming up in Health Watch, another side effect of the pandemic.
The pandemic took a toll on teens mentally and physically. I'm Nichelle Medina with how playing sports can help.
And later, why experts say you shouldn't plan on the high prices of cars to come down anytime soon. Topping today's Health Watch, young athletes are more likely to get hurt on synthetic turf as opposed to natural grass. That's according to a new report from the University of Hawaii. Research found children sustained more ankle and knee injuries on those synthetic football fields. Synthetic fields have grown in popularity because, of course, they're much easier to maintain. We know the COVID-19 pandemic has taken a toll on the mental health of many of us, especially teenagers. Well, now new research shows kids who had their sports seasons canceled suffered significantly during that time. Reporter Nichelle Medina has more from California.
1, 2. Henry Weinpel is sharpening his blocking skills for the big game.
The physical aspect of it and the skill involved, it's all just really fun.
And he does not take his time on the field for granted. The 17-year-old, like many teens, took a big hit when the pandemic took down sports.
It was really disappointing. I couldn't spend time with my friends as much as I used to. It was really difficult to stay in physical shape.
I just had to keep encouraging him to focus on the future.
New research from the American Academy of Pediatrics conference shows when sports were sidelined, teen athletes reported high levels of anxiety and depression and low levels of physical activity and quality of life.
This study was really kind of against the backdrop of the existing mental health epidemic that we've been seeing in adolescents.
Thousands of teens nationwide filled out surveys in May 2020 after sports were canceled, and then 1 year later when sports returned.
Dramatic improvements in physical activity and quality of life, and considerable improvements in anxiety and depression. Unfortunately, we haven't quite gotten back to where we were before, and so continuing to prioritize mental health in adolescents and adolescent athletes is going to be a really important priority for years to come.
Henry is working harder than ever.
The pandemic really got me to realize how important sports were, and it makes me enjoy it that much more.
He comes home every day, drenched in dirt and sweat, and with a big smile on his face. And I say, how was practice? He said, it was awesome.
Happy to be back with his team, which remains undefeated. Nichelle Medina, CBS News, San Marcos, California.
Researchers also say they're seeing worsening mental health for teen athletes who were not able to get back to sports since the cancellations around COVID. A new warning from doctors, e-scooter injuries are becoming more common, more severe too. Researchers from Children's National Hospital show 1 in 8 children were admitted to a hospital after an injury from an e-scooter in 2020. Concussions, skull, arm fractures, internal bleeding were just some of the injuries hospitals treated. Doctors stress children should wear those helmets when riding those e-scooters. As new data from the FDA shows, an estimated 2.5 million children and teens are using e-cigarettes. It also shows the majority of users smoke flavored e-cigarettes, and 1 in 4 children who use them reportedly do so daily. The FDA says the high numbers highlight e-cigarette use among youth is still a public health problem, despite efforts to tackle the issue. That is a look at today's health news. A little bit later, last month's job report from the Labor Department.
Plus, it looks like it's going to stay fairly chilly tonight into tomorrow. We'll look at that coming up. Well, it turned out to be a nice Friday for us today. Temperatures are fantastic, quite a bit cooler than what we have seen all week long. We do have clear skies right now, except our northern counties. We have cloudy skies, so it just depends on where you live. Indigo Sky Casino and Resort, of course. Indigo is Seneca, Missouri. All right, look at our temps. Past 36 hours. Yesterday, of course, we were into low to mid 80s. We had that cold front that dropped through, and then most of us have been hovering upper 60s to near 70 for us today, so quite a bit cooler. So let's jump into the evening for state. Friday night football, we are going to get some clouds thickening up, so some cloud interference, but temperatures are going to be great, so this is fantastic football weather. 62 at kickoff, 55 by the fourth quarter. Can't rule out, especially our northern counties, a random sprinkle, maybe a real quick little shower, but overall it looks pretty good. Look at the temperature contrast. So we're at 73 in Jay, Pittsburgh 61, 57 in Fort Scott, 68 Independence. We have 70 in Neosho. And the reason it's cooler in our northern counties is because we have the clouds across the region. It's been kind of breezy. The winds have been slowly diminishing, but still we have sustained winds kind of in that 10 to 15 mile per hour range. Currently outside in Joplin, 68 north winds at about 10 to 15. Humidity is low at 26%. But look at the clouds in our northern counties. They make it all the way down to about Pittsburgh, but they will track a little bit farther south. Underneath these clouds, we are picking up a few random light little sprinkles, light little showers. Here's Iola, Yates Center. It's a little bit more condensed once you get north of Wichita over towards Salina. So this will continue to drop in, but also fall apart at the same time. But we can still pick up a few random little sprinkles. Most of the rain over this weekend will stay down with this wave, central Oklahoma and back through the panhandles of Oklahoma and Texas. All right, let's step through time as we go through the evening. By midnight, still those clouds, random little sprinkle, random little shower popping up through the overnight hours into tomorrow morning. So here's about 4 a.m. Look at our temps into the 40s by morning, upper 30s northern counties. So we're pressing that frost level. I think we'll stay just above. Everybody else will stay in the 40s for the overnight hours. As we go through the noon hour, we'll be sitting right around 60. And I think with some sunshine, we'll get into the mid to upper 60s for highs. We clear out tomorrow night, not as chilly, mid 40s, and then by Sunday morning, some more clouds and maybe a random little sprinkle once again, but a little bit warmer by the time we head into Sunday afternoon as temperatures are going to make it up into the mid 70s. So 45 to start, near 40 northern counties, 59 by noon, 66 by 5. I think our high temp with enough sunshine should get to about 69 by the time we head into the afternoon. 76 on Sunday, back to 81 on Monday. Very slight chance for a few showers Monday. Better chance for showers and thunderstorms are going to roll in on Wednesday with another cold front that will drop us back down. But pretty good temperatures over the weekend and great weather for high school football tonight.
Yeah, I was going to say 48 degrees tonight.
Yeah.
Good football weather indeed. Doug Henny, thank you so much. Hey, don't forget, you can be the first to know about the day's weather with KOAM Skywatch weather app. You can get severe weather updates sent straight to your phone free of charge. It's available on the Apple App Store, also the Google Play Store. If you have an Android phone, all you have to do, search for KOAM Skywatch weather app. Coming up, why experts say don't expect the high prices on you or used vehicles to come down anytime soon. But first, we pause to honor a local veteran. Otis Allen served in the U.S. Army during the Vietnam era. We are proud to thank and salute Otis Allen, native of Mountain City, Kansas. He's this evening's four-state hero. To learn more about all of our heroes, we have several of them, or if you'd like to nominate someone of your own, please do. Visit our website, koamnewsnow.com. Topping today's Consumer Watch, the fever hasn't broken yet for the U.S. job market. The federal government reporting the economy added 263,000 jobs in September. That's slightly higher than the 250,000 economists estimated. However, the robust headline number marks the second month in a row of falling totals, pointing to a labor market slowdown. Meanwhile, the unemployment rate fell back to 3.5% from 3.7%. Federal judge has ruled Postmaster General Louis DeJoy's changes to the Postal Service hurt mail delivery. Back in 2020, the Trump appointee was accused of slowing down service before the 2020 election. The cities and states that filed the lawsuit say the move hindered their ability to control the spread of COVID because people were forced to vote in person rather than use mail-in ballots. Buying a car is one of life's biggest expenses, and it's growing increasingly tougher to afford one. Soaring interest rates, ongoing auto part shortages, coupled with high demand, are leading to higher costs. And if you've been waiting to buy a new or used car for that matter, experts say the car market isn't coming down to normal levels anytime soon. Reporter Jen Sullivan has a closer look at what you can expect.
Auto part shortages, high demand, and soaring interest rates, all driving up car prices.
That means you can't find what you want, and you're going to pay more for it if you can.
And experts say if you've been waiting to buy a new or used car, don't expect the car market to come down to normal levels anytime soon. Experts say companies and dealers have little incentives to take action to bring down costs.
There aren't many new cars available. Toyota, others have said they just don't have a lot of supply. They're really scarce, and the used cars are incredibly highly priced.
New car prices hit a record in August, up 30% over the last 3 years. And used car prices are still up 48% from August of 2019, according to the latest Consumer Price Index. Experts say automakers are still facing shortages of computer chips and other car parts.
That means the prices go up. That means it's harder to find components. It's hard to get things fixed when you go to a repair shop. So all of it creates this kind of snowball cycle.
Meanwhile, rising interest rates mean some car shoppers are already being forced out of the market. According to Cox Automotive, people with weak credit ratings usually make up 15% of new car purchases. Now they're down to just 5%. And according to Edmunds.com, the average new car loan interest rate reached 5.7% in the third quarter of this year. That's the highest it's been since 2019. If you can't wait for the market to improve and need a car now, here's one tip.
Don't go to a bank and don't get it from the dealer. Go to a credit union. They have lower rates because they don't pay tax.
For today's Consumer Watch, I'm Jen Sullivan.
Meanwhile, Americans are holding onto their cars longer and longer. According to S&P Global Mobility, the average car on America's roads today is over 12 years old. Outdoor retailer REI is making Black Friday a permanent holiday for its approximately 16,000 employees. Since 2015, yes, Seattle-based retail cooperative has closed its stores the day after Thanksgiving, traditionally seen as the start of the holiday shopping season. Well, now REI says it's going to shut its operations every year on Black Friday while encouraging workers and customers to spend time outside. REI says shoppers can still place orders on its website, but they won't begin processing until the next day. Final check of the forecast next. Up next on the CBS Evening News, the story of how a small act of kindness can change someone's life. Then on KOAM News at 6, we're going to learn about a police chase that happened last night in Joplin. Plus, a new study found living in Arkansas means you have a higher chance of being a victim of a violent crime. And we're going to hear more from Carthage Water and Electric plant workers who helped with hurricane recovery efforts in Florida. Stay with us for the CBS Evening News, and then, of course, KOAM News at 6. If you're ever on the go and want to still be able to watch our newscasts live, it's easy. Just download the KOAM Plus app. It's available free of charge on the Apple and Google Play stores, as well as Roku and Amazon Fire TV. Just search for KOAM Plus. Here's another reason dogs are called a man's best friend. Oh, look at those guys. Turns out petting a dog is actually good for our brains. In a study that was just published in the journal PLOS ONE, researchers put brain scanners on people and had them pet a stuffed animal and then a live dog. There was a big boost in brain activity when the person got to pet the pup. Researchers think the real animal creates some emotional involvement, and that's what activates the brain. Well, yeah, I mean, if we had the real Doug Hetty standing here and then a stuffed version of the Doug Hetty, it'd make a big difference. You know, I want the real Doug Hetty, you know what I mean?
That hairless dog freaked me out.
Dog. There's still dogs, though.
It is still a dog.
Both of us are dog lovers.
I know, but I like them to have fur.
Don't be mean.
Same.
It's going to be, like you said, football weather.
Yeah, it looks good throughout the evening hours. We're going to drop back lower 40s for us tonight. Saturday looks great, 69. 48 tomorrow night, 76 on Sunday. So the entire weekend looks great. And then some rain chances starting to sneak in as we get into next week, especially on Wednesday.
Okay. Doug, thanks so much. Thanks for joining us. CBS Evening News is next. We'll see you at 6.